I'm gonna start this video this time with a little bit of a story, because I do post videos every single day, but I wanted to change the pace of this one for a little bit of a change. So I'm gonna link it back straight to the title of the video. I was on this, just my regular routine, I guess you could say. I was just doing my regular old things, going to a coffee shop to work outside on my laptop, then getting back home, doing a bit more work, then hitting the gym, and then going home to just eat some food, and then getting back to work. And during this routine, I more of like noticed, I guess, a somewhat attractive, pretty chick, I guess, on my way there, who was working in a gift shop. And I was like, you know what? This would actually be kind of funny to test something. So whenever I would pass by, I would just stare at her while passing by. And then one day, she caught my gaze, and then ever since that day, she started staring back. And so the next time, instead of just staring, I gave a little bit of an archaic smile, just like a little bit of a, and she really liked that. So ever since that day, every single time she saw me, she'd always smile or wave or do something. And so a couple days later, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go say hi. What does it cost me? 2 minutes of my time? So I did that, got her number, and said, oh, you know what? Why don't you come with me and we go out for a tea or a coffee or something? And she was really happy to do that. So we did that, went on a first date together, and then everything was going fine. Ended the day, going home, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. And then after a couple days, did some back and forth over the course of like a week or two. Did some back and forth of going on, well, scheduling dates, and she canceled every single one of them. And I was like, what the fuck are you? What is wrong with you? And she told me like, oh, if you want, we can do this at this time. And I told her, you know what? We can, but I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no because I don't feel like you're putting in much effort. You're very low effort, not very reciprocating to my invitations. I've invited her 3 times. She's reciprocated only once. And she hasn't been precise on the location or time or date. So I was like, you know what? No, I'm good. And a couple days later, still no response. So I was like, you know what? This person actually doesn't give a fuck. So I texted her, hey, name. I don't think this is gonna work out. Wish you all the best. See ya. And I blocked her. And that was kind of funny when I actually think about it now in perspective, because the simple fact of me telling her no freed up so much bandwidth in my head. I was like, oh, is she gonna respond? Is she not gonna respond? Is she gonna do this? Do I care? A bunch of fucking gymnastics basically to set up things. And I was like, you know what? If she doesn't want to bend to my schedule, which is already quite busy, I couldn't care less. So I just told her no. If you don't want to fit into my schedule, which is busier than yours, then I'm good. I don't care. I'll walk away. I'll be the one that got away. Which is funny, because it's entirely her fault when you actually think about it. I could have kept chasing down, but at the end of the day, that's just fucking stupid. Because it takes 2 to dance the tango. It takes 2 to do something, right? So if she doesn't put any any effort in it, and I put all the effort. It's like just me doing something by myself. So might as well just tell her, hey, you can leave now. Like, I don't need you. And so, very simply, the power of saying no to people is actually quite strong. It's quite astonishing, actually. Because it completely wrecks their entire worldview and their entire ego and their entire everything. Because they're so used to people just reordering their schedule around and feeling like, oh, I really want to spend time with you, da da da. And when somebody just says, you know what, I don't give a fuck if you don't want to spend time with me, but if you do, good, that's fine, that's nice. But if you don't, I don't care. I don't give a fuck. Because nobody does that to pretty women. Nobody does that. So whenever you do that to pretty women, they get so obsessed. They get like, why the fuck did he reject me? Why does he not want me? Does he not think I'm attractive enough? Does he not? It just destroys their ego when you do that. Now, I didn't really want to talk about the dating market, but it's just an example story of what I've been doing recently. So saying no to people is actually quite powerful, is what I wanted to talk about today. And sometimes in the course of your life, I've had experiences in the past before where I had to say to people, hey, no, like, I'm not gonna do that, bro. Like 4 years ago when I started my whole I guess business ventures, whatever the fuck, started learning how to become a business owner, learning a high income skill, and getting better at it over the past few years. I remember when I started, I was playing video games all the time, and I was playing with a bunch of people. And so I had to tell these people, like, whenever they would come up to me, they would say, hey, do you want to play this? I would have to tell them, hey, I'm working on this actually, so I'm gonna have to tell you no. I'm gonna have to say no to the video games for a certain amount of time. I'm gonna have to say no to playing with you on those video games for a certain amount of time, because I need to focus on this if I want to build something worthwhile for myself. And they tell me like, oh, why are you doing that? We can just play for a couple hours, da da da. And I'm like, you know, we have a finite amount of time on this planet, and I'm not gonna repeat myself. The answer is no. And so by doing that, you see who are your real friends. Very simply. You see who is willing to stick around and talk to you even if you're not playing a video game. And if they do that, they are a real friend. And if they don't, they just didn't care about you. They only cared about the fact that you were playing the game with them. That's it. They replaced you with somebody else. They didn't care. So there's that. There's also, whenever I do business with other businesses, because my business is officially a B2B, which is business to business sales, which basically I provide a service to businesses in exchange for money. I get to choose who I work with. I don't just work with anybody, okay? And so some people, they come up to me and they say, hey, I would really like your help, da da da. I'll give you an example. There was this blind guy who was, no, not blind, mute. He couldn't talk. And he wanted to create a business to teach people how to become better at math in Braille, which was extremely complicated. And I told them, hey, I'm happy to help, but I don't think I will, because your business model, the market is so tiny that I don't think you're going to make any money from it, unfortunately. I don't think this is going to be a good market. And so you need to think for yourself, are you going to sell to a bigger chunk of the market, or are you going to sell to these people and make less money? And I left him with that, and I said, hey, I'm going to be perfectly honest. This is your situation. This is what I understand. This is what you could do. I gave him a couple of different options, and then said, hey, I'm sure you can figure this out, but if you want to do this option, I can help. If you don't want to do it, and if you don't want to do any of the other options, then in that case, I cannot help you. So I need to protect my bottom line, if you know what I mean. Like, if I'm not making money, I'm gonna be homeless and poor like he is. So I can't really afford that, unfortunately. So I have nothing against the guy. He's a pretty cool dude. Like, in all aspects, I have respect for him for wanting to help those people in that industry, which is something, if I had money to spare, I would probably do that. But I don't, unfortunately. So at the end of the day, I need to make sure I can survive first if I want to be able to provide for other people. And so at the end of the day, relationships, friendships, people, businesses, everything under the sun on this earth is something you get to decide if you are going to invest your time into or not. And you need to decide that for yourself. I keep telling people no, 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 because my time is getting more and more valuable by the second. So whenever somebody says, hey, can we go on a coffee date? I'm just not going to be like, if we've already been on a coffee date, I'm not going to do a second coffee date. You can do something with me, but my schedule is extremely busy. So if you want to spend time with me, you need to fit into that. So not only are my standards really high and my schedule is extremely busy, I'm working on things, I'm building a business, I'm pushing forward, my time is used as much as I can to either spend with myself, which is like just investing all that time into my business, or it's investing it into building those relationships that I value more. It's like, if it's a family relationship, if it's a business relationship, if it's a networking relationship, I am willing to invest time into that and to improving that, okay? But any relationship outside of that I don't see potential with, then I'm just going to be like, you know what, I don't really want to spend time with you. I don't really want to talk to you, because the only thing you can provide to me, if the only thing you can provide to me is bedroom activities, then in that case, why the fuck am I going on a date with you? Like, I don't give a shit. Like, I'm not going to lie to you just to get you in the bedroom, but I'm also going to protect my time. Like, I'm going to protect my time. I'm going to tell you, hey, this is how it is. If you like it, go, like, cool. If you don't like it, then go away. Like, I don't care. When you have a bunch of people you're dating at the same time, I personally think it's better to be honest about it. Like, that's what my granddad did. He said, hey, I can give you a little bit of my time, but I'm going to be fully honest. I'm going to spend time with this person, this person, this person. These are all people that I'm dating at the same time. So if that's something you're fine with, no worries. If you're not, then you can leave. Very simple. You lay out the foundation and then you fucking sit on it. And you say, hey, this is the ground I'm standing on. You're not going to make me change ground. You're not going to make me crumble my boundaries. You're not going to make me change. This is who I am. Accept it or leave. And unless you have a rational, logical, scientific, explanational reason as to why I should change, then in that case, please make your case, and I will evaluate it, and I will decide for myself. And if I choose that not changing is the better option, then I won't change. But if I think changing is a better option, then I might adapt. Only if you present a good argument, though. If you don't, then I don't care. And since most people can't even present a logical argument properly in this day and age, it is very easy to be the kind of guy who has standards, who respects himself, who has a certain amount of self-esteem and respect for himself, that he doesn't care if nobody wants to spend time with him, because spending time with himself is more than enough. That's what I wanted to talk about today. So if anybody is in your life, is asking for your time and attention, you need to understand what are your priorities, and you need to tell them, hey, no, I don't want to spend time with you. It's not that I don't actually want to spend time with you, it's that I have more important things to do. So I'm gonna do that instead because I need to do X, Y, and Z, which is extremely important to me. And if you can't allow me to do that, then I can't be your friend, and I can't spend time with you. So, yeah. If you have people in your life that are demanding your attention on a day-to-day basis, but are providing not that much value, you need to be ruthless and you need to cut them out, or else you'll never have access to that time that you need in order to build something, unless you don't want to build anything. And in that case, just do whatever the fuck you want. I don't have any sympathy for you. I don't care. I have chosen to not be a spectator, but instead be an actor in my life. I went to the gym the other day, and this old man, pretty cool dude, pretty nice dude, nothing bad to say about him. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. And he said like, "Oh, have you watched the football?" And I said, "Nope, don't watch sports." And he said, "Oh yeah, that's right. You only do stuff. You only do the sports." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's right. I don't like being a spectator. I like doing things." And he said, "Fair enough." And he didn't say anything afterwards. So it's kind of like, you know exactly who you are, and so it's easier to just say, "Hey, this is me. I don't care if you don't want to be a part of that. See you later." And women like that, actually. When you actually think about the dating market and how it's set up, which is quite fucked up at the moment, you actually see that most women have attachment issues. Most women have daddy issues. Most women have attachment issues. Most women are insecure. Most women most of them aren't fucking raised right, because they're raised in a very fragile, toxic, insecure environment. And so that's who they become. That's why you see so many women out there in the city, any urban environment, going to in the nightlife, like dressing super provocatively in like skin tight clothing, or wearing barely anything, letting a bunch of fucking skin hanging out. And you can it's basically like going to the beach, but in the city when there's no water. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, hello? You're dressing like a stripper, and you want me to treat you like a lady? I don't think that's how it works. So, not only do they not have any self-respect, but whenever you do that, it fucks with their head, because they're like, "Oh, why does this guy feel so attractive?" Because you're firm in your boundaries, firm in your standards. You know what you want, you know who you are. And if they want to be a part of that, they can. You can invite them in. You know, one of the people that I've taken a lot of advice from, he said something around the lines. Now, I'm not saying this myself. I don't give a shit. But he said, you should invite women into your life. You shouldn't create a new life with them. You shouldn't create a new life with them, because that's gay. And you should just invite them into your life. And if they don't want to be a part of them, then just fucking tell them to leave. You don't care. It doesn't matter. Your life doesn't change if there's a woman in it or not. It only gets better. It can't get any worse without it. So, who cares? And I kind of agree. I agree, honestly. Like, I'd rather invite a woman into what I'm doing, because it's more important. I'm building something extremely important. I'm ambitious, driven. I have things that I want to do. And if that is the case, then I need to have the protection of my time, energy, and effort. So if they're gonna bring a bunch of drama, a bunch of fucking games, a bunch of shit in my life, then I'm just gonna tell them, you can kindly fuck right off. Thank you very much. I don't have time for games. I don't have time for anything. I don't have time to chase women down. I don't care. Alright? So, if that's something you can relate to, just do that. And with that said, thank you guys so much for watching. Another video recorded. roughly make these like 20 minutes long. I post every single day, so if that's something you're interested in, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and let me know. Stick around what you think about these videos by giving me your support. And if not, no problem, I don't care. Like I said, it doesn't really change much. I'm gonna keep growing the channel. I'm gonna keep posting every single day. So if you want to stick around, feel free to do so. I would really appreciate it. If not, no problem. Have a good day, and I will see you later. It's a beautiful day, so it's time to get back to work, and I will see you in the next one tomorrow. See ya.